Egypt, 1300 BC. You are looking at the Great Pyramid of Giza. It was built 1,000 years before this morning. It was already ancient when the people alive now were born, but here is what the photographs never show you. In 1300 BC, the pyramid is not grey. It is white. The entire structure is cased in polished white limestone that catches the desert sun and throws it back across the plateau like a signal fire. From a distance, it blinds. From up close, it shimmers. The grey ruin you know from photographs is what 4,000 years of wind and plunder made it. What the ancient Egyptians built was something that gleamed. Now look away from the pyramid. Turn around. Behind you, stretching to the banks of the Nile, is the city that made it possible. Not the tomb, not the pharaoh, the city, the bakers, the brewers, the scribes, the women grinding grain before the sun is fully up, the children fetching water from the river with clay jars balanced on their heads. This is where Egypt actually lived. This is a day inside it. Dawn, you are a tomb worker, not a slave. This is important. The people who built Egypt's great monuments were paid in bread, in beer, in linen. They had names, they had families, they had opinions about their employers which they wrote down on limestone flakes and left for archaeologists to find 3,000 years later. This morning you are late. The reason, if we're honest, is last night's beer. The records from your village show that absence due to indisposition from drinking was common enough to require its own category in the attendance register. You are not the first. You will not be the last. Morning. The first thing you eat is bread. Dense, flat, and slightly gritty. The grit comes from the grinding stones, fragments of sand and rock that work their way into the flour no matter how carefully the grain is ground. Every Egyptian who ever lived ate this bread. Every Egyptian who ever lived wore their teeth down from it. Archaeologists can tell from the angle of tooth wear on 3,000-year-old skulls exactly how people held the bread when they bit into it. History is in the details. Sometimes the details are in the teeth. You wash it down with beer, not a luxury, nutrition. Brewed from fermented barley, it is safer than river water and more caloric than bread alone. Your monthly wage includes 110 litres of barley to brew into beer. Before you leave the house, you apply Kohl around your eyes. Both men and women do this every morning. The Kohl is ground from galena, a dark mineral mixed with animal fat, kept in small decorated tubes that every household owns. It is not purely cosmetic. The dark ring around the eye reduces the glare of the desert sun and has antibacterial properties that protect against eye infection. Practical and beautiful at the same time, which is, in many ways, the Egyptian philosophy in miniature. As you walk to the tomb site, the Nile is visible to the east. It tells you what month it is more reliably than any calendar. 3 seasons. Akhet, the flooding. The Nile rises, deposits the dark, rich silt the Egyptians call kemet, the black land across the fields. Farmers are conscripted to state building projects. This is when the monuments get made, Pere, the growing season. The waters recede. Farmers press seeds into the still, damp earth with their bare feet. Shemu, the harvest. Then the river rises again. It has been this way for longer than anyone can remember. It will be this way, the Egyptians believe, forever. Midday. At midday, the sun becomes a punishment. Work stops. The foreman calls the rest. Workers find shade against the cliff face or beneath a shelter of woven reed. This is when many of the village men write, not on papyrus. That is expensive. reserved for official documents and the wealthy. They write on Ostraca, limestone flakes and broken pottery shards that litter the ground like fallen leaves. Archaeologists have found thousands of them. Shopping lists, love poems, a man complaining that his colleague took a tool and never returned it, a woman recording a dream she cannot interpret, notes about which days are lucky and which should be avoided. Your village is called Set Mart, the place of truth. You call yourselves servants in the place of truth. At midday, in the shade of a cliff face, 3,000 years of ordinary life is being pressed into stone. Afternoon. The second shift begins when the heat breaks. You file back into the tomb, painting, carving, plastering, laying the precise hieroglyphs that will line a royal chamber for eternity. But in the 29th year of Ramesses III, something different happens. The rations do not arrive. The grain, the beer, the linen, all of it late. The workers wait. They send a message to the officials. They wait again. Then they do something that has never been done before in recorded history. They stop working. They walk out of the tomb site and sit down outside the walls of the mortuary temples. They refuse to move until they are paid. This is the first recorded labor strike in history. It works. The rations arrive. The workers go back inside. The pharaoh, we can assume, was not pleased. The records are silent on this point. Evening work ends before dark. At the river, the day is washed off. Everyone bathes, the rich in tubs at home, the rest in the Nile itself. They use natron, a naturally occurring salt, as a cleanser. They consider poor hygiene a cause of illness. They are not wrong. In the village, the cooking fires are lit. Onions, garlic, the sharp green smell of leeks. A pot of lentils on the flame. The smell of tomorrow's bread already baking. Children play in the narrow alleys. Marbles, spinning tops, a game with a ball and a stick that nobody has bothered to write down because everyone already knows how to play it. Night. Tonight, like most nights, you sleep on the roof. The heat inside the mud brick house holds for hours. The roof catches the night breeze from the river. Your family is arranged around you. Your wife, your children, possibly your parents. The stars here are extraordinary. There is no light pollution. There has never been light pollution. The Milky Way is simply the sky. The Egyptians know every star by name. They use them to align the temples, predict the flooding of the Nile, tell the time at night. The sky is not decoration. The sky is a clock, a calendar, and a map of where the gods live. Somewhere in the darkness, the white pyramid gleams faintly in the starlight. Egypt will last another 1,000 years after this night. 2,000. The pyramids will still be standing when every language spoken today has been forgotten. But the bread will be forgotten. The coal tubes, the limestone flakes covered in handwriting no one could read for 3,000 years. The men who stopped working until someone paid them. The women who supervised the beer. The children playing in the alley with a ball and a stick. They are the reason Egypt lasted, not the pharaohs, not the gods, the people who showed up every morning, ground the grain, brewed the beer, applied the coal, and went to work on the monuments of a civilization that has outlasted everything except their names.